This is Avonelle Hawke's Oral History. We're going to talk today about Morocco. Dad has been assigned to Sidi Slimane, Morocco in his role as a nuclear weapons specialist. And he's already arrived in Morocco. You were trailing him with the three boys. Now, on this trip, was this the first time you'd ever been in an airplane?
Yes.
Okay. And was this the first time you'd ever been outside the United States?
Yes.
Okay. So you're arriving in 1955.
Yes.
You remember what month it was?
November, the day after Thanksgiving.
Okay. So you're arriving with three children. What are their ages?
Let's see. 55. Mike was 7. George was 5. And you were a year and 9 months.
Okay. And Dad's at the airport to meet you.
Oh, yes, with a big smile.
Now, this wasn't Sidi Slimane, was it?
No, Casablanca.
Okay, you met you in Casablanca.
Rick's place.
How romantic. Did you feel kind of a romantic, kind of like, wow, Casablanca, this is cool?
Not really.
No, you were just happy to be where
I was just so happy to be with Dad.
And especially given the scare in the Azores, I'm sure you were just happy to be outside the airplane and on solid ground.
Exactly.
Yeah, good. So then, do you stay in Casablanca, do you remember, or did you
Don't
drive?
know. Dad took all of our trunks and luggage and stacked it in the Pontiac car that he had taken over, and piled all of us in the car, and off we went for Rabat Saleh, and we went through Rabat, which is the capital, and then we drove to Port Lyoté, right on the where the Mediterranean goes into the Atlantic.
Uh-huh. And so that was one trip all at a time.
Right.
So then you stayed in Port Lyoté for how long?
I think it was 2 weeks before we were able to move into a house.
Okay, but we're not in Sidi Slimane.
We're still not in Sidi Slimane.
Okay, so you're waiting to be able to move into a house in Sidi Slimane before you leave Port Lyoté?
No. Dad had to get quarters for us before he could even get us shipped over. And he had been able to find a little, I don't know how to explain it, a row of houses like the Mexican rows of houses in Tucson, with the flat fronts and the one door and the window, in the village of Sidi Slimane, the Arab village, which was about a 15-minute drive from the base.
Right. So why are you in Port Lyoté?
Well, we had to wait so we could get into this apartment.
Right. So you're waiting for housing in Sidi Slimane to open up.
Yeah.
And before it does, you have to stay in Port Lyoté.
Yes.
Okay. And so that took what, 2 weeks?
About 2 weeks. He had reserved 2 rooms in a hotel in Port Lyoté, very nice hotel, and he had a beautiful vase of red roses in the hotel room when we arrived. I don't know how he did that. And we got there about in the evening with the 5 of us, and I have no idea what he did with all of our luggage. I don't remember it stacked around, but we had it. And it was wonderful getting to be a family again. I looked out the window of the hotel and there was a great big Texaco sign. I was so disgusted.
How far were you from the Mediterranean? Do you remember? Were you on the beach or close to it?
No, we weren't on the beach, but it was a very quick drive to the beach. Yeah.
So basically you had 2 weeks of vacation essentially, or did Dad have to go back to
No, Dad had to go back to work. We stayed in a hotel. We enrolled Mike in school, because we really didn't know exactly how long we were going to be there by the time we started being in the hotel. And we wanted to get Mike back in school as quick as possible. He was in second grade. It was a Navy base, a United States Navy base in Port Leone, a big one that had been there a long time. So we put him in the Navy school. A bus picked him up at the hotel, and you and George and I stayed in the hotel. I didn't do much roaming around when I first got there because it was very unfamiliar to me.
Sure.
But the general's aide and his wife, Lynn, and their little boy, about 2 years old, were in Port Leone waiting to get into an apartment too. And they were going to get into the same apartment building that we were in the village. So Wynn would come over with little Eddie, and Tommy was his name. And we walked down the sidewalk and just kind of watch and look and see what things were like and sit in the hotel and talk. But we really didn't do very much during that time.
Yeah. Now, did Dad come back and forth at all?
Yeah, he came back every
day.
day.
Oh, he came every day? No,
40 miles.
Okay, so this was 40 miles from the city. So
Yeah.
Okay, so Dad would actually every day would go and come back.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And in the evenings, did you do anything, or did you
No.
just rest in the hotel, or?
No.
So you really didn't get out to see Port Leone
No.
at all?
Mm-mm.
Okay. And so Mike's in school. So, okay, so I'm a little bit confused. This Arab village where you finally were able to find a place. Now, there was no housing on the base?
It wasn't ready yet.
Okay.
They were building it and getting it ready.
Okay, so the idea was you would stay in this Arab village until the housing on the base was ready.
That's right.
And then you moved to that.
Right.
Okay, now the apartment, what you call the apartment
Well,
in the Arab village, had that been built with foreigners in mind, or was that strictly an Arab house?
the French had built it.
Okay.
Because the French were still occupying, were still living in Morocco, but there was a war going on, and the Arabs were kicking them out. After all those years, a lot of the French were born there. Some Frenchmen had built this, and it was a row, all one building, with a door in each apartment. And when I say apartment, don't get any illusions. It was interesting. You walk in, and it had the rock terrazzo floors, and it didn't have any under protection from the dampness from underneath. It was the rainy season that we got there. And you had one little, about that deep of a sink on some metal legs.
In the kitchen?
In the kitchen. That's what you walked into when you opened the front door. And there were no cupboards.